responsible for enterprise resilience, disaster recovery, crisis management, and security. So I have around 18, 19 years of experience on uh, on the on the security and BCM side. I think CISSP. I thought probably it's a good idea, probably good time to go back and understand the perspective in a broader way, especially from information from the cybersecurity risk perspective. While uh, I have a certification on ISMS, probably CISSP gives an opportunity to see things beyond just the management system and provides more detailed technical knowledge, which I'm looking forward to, because that will definitely help me to manage my team and also build my career on the cybersecurity along with the disaster recovery.
Okay, that's wonderful. So you have, I think, good exposure on this, so we can the good eligibility sort of thing. So we can do further things, no problem. Okay, so
Thank you.
the next one, I would like to know that details from your side.
Hello everyone, my name is Naveen Chawla, and currently I'm working with some telecom company in India, where like I'm working basically in network like designing, security designing, and also I basically fetch the requirement from the customer side, prepare HLD, LLD, and like get the implementation for the post to SOC. And I'm having almost 14 to 15 years of experience in basically security, is almost 12 years. And I wanted to like switch my role here. I feel like after this like level as a lead consultant, I'm stuck with the current environment and wanted to like switch my role where I can move into like either cyber security or like kind of information security for any banking like sector and like boost my career here.
Okay, wonderful. So you are good eligibility sort of CSSP, because I'm required those people who have already, 5 to 6 years experience exposure on the security, because CSP is very technical and very manageable thing. So that is why I required the things, information from your side. Yes, thank you for your time. Yeah, next one.
Hello everyone, my name is Tariq Al-Halabi. I am a senior system engineer, and actually I'm working with a company who's providing, we can say, is like value-added resellers for many products. So basically I'm working as a pre-sales engineer for network and mostly for security products. So I have experience in different type of technology and solutions. Endpoint securities, network security, such firewalls. Recently, we start working with some solutions who giving SIM solutions to build a SOC network. So I have very good experience in securities. I'm also familiar with some security frameworks and regulations similar to what do you call it, SANS, yes, the one which they have CIS, the one which they have critical security control. So I'm familiar with that. So I'm expecting if I learn CISSP, I will get more knowledge about security and cyber security, and I'm consider it as a challenge for me to learn more, and it will help me a lot to position the product what we are selling as our company portfolio. I have 12 years experience in network and security, mainly focus on security.
Okay, wonderful news. So thanks for all you participants to join this particular session. So I would like to tell you about myself, because my name is Mahesh Kumawat and I have more than 15 years experience on the security side basically. So I used to teach the PMP and cyber security and AWS, Azure, and cloud security sort of things. So all those things I'm just going to providing the corporate trainings on sort of part-time basis, and I'm working in the top MNCs till now, IBM, TCS, and Accenture's of those companies, and currently is working there as a senior project manager. And we have got number of security projects or different companies. So that is why I'm well aware about the cloud computing sort of things, and the project management sort of things, and the security prospects of any companies, implementation of security, ISO 27000, or we can say CISSP, CISA, CSM, everything's. I'm just going to teach students, and we also implement in the different companies the security governance sort of things, and those things. We are basically doing digital activities, right? So we are just going to the class 1 CSSP for this. So as you are all aware about that, we have in university CSSP, we have 8 domains available, right? So CSSP, common body of knowledge, and there's a CBK book from ISSQL is providing, and there's 8 domains are into this, and we will going particular the CSSP step by step, right? So the thing is important here because the 8 domains are there, and the CSP is basically about the conceptual, logical understanding, how to implement all those, 8 domains into the business. This is the all things we are going to learn about the CSSP is all about. And another thing is the CSP examination perspectives, because it's a very conceptual, very logical exam. So you should be understand very thoroughly each and every subject of this particular domains very carefully, and understanding is more important into the CSP domain, right? So as per this we can say that CSP is basically used for all those candidates or students who are just more than 5 years exposure on the security domains, and they can understand the basic the communications sort of networking, the security, legal issues, engineering, communications, entity and access management, security. So most of this particular things are applicable onto different domains like manufacturing domains, production, IT domains, healthcare domains. So these sort of things will be applicable of any sort of projects. So the most important thing is there, because I think you all guys are from the IT domains, so you well aware about also those things in this IT is how to implement the things, right? Mm. Okay, so the first domain is security and risk management. So the risk security is, what do you understand by security? What type of security? Have to implement security? Where to apply the security? These sort of things we need to understand. Hello. Hello. Is Anshu's joined?
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, Anshu, you have
Yeah,
joined.
can you hear me?
Yes, yes. We are
Yeah, I
able to hear.
just joined. Actually, I had a problem with my laptop, so I just connected through phone.
Okay, okay. So
it was not. Yeah.
So
So it started, I guess, right?
yes, we are just talking about some basic things, what type of things we have, what type need to learn, and what sort of what in CSP sort of things we need to be what take care, all sort of things. So answer, I would like to know your details from your side, because what you're doing it, how much experience do you have, and is there any security things you know that, and is this IT domains or some different domains you are from?
Yeah, actually, I'm in the IT like IT industry for last 10 years. Like right now, I'm in Abu Dhabi. I'm working for one of the Abu Dhabi government entity here. I'm here for last 5-6 years in UAE. So
Okay.
I'm into the security operations center. I'm the security lead, actually.
Okay.
So I deal with the ISMS implementation and all those things. So
Okay.
sort of like to have this CISSP certification.
Okay, wonderful. Yes, so I think most of the you have participants are joined because all are in the IT domains basically. So it's a very good for me to, because it's easy to understand the concept which I'm talking about to you. So that's really beneficial to you.
Right.
Okay, so we are just talking about some 8 domains in the CISSP, and the first thing is the security and risk management. So we need to understand about the
Right.
security prospects and risk management sort of things. What type of risk, how to mitigate the risk, how to transfer the risk, and how what risk is how to calculate the risk in the IT industry. Okay, and the security
Okay.
is basically, we can say that some CIA threat is all there, the compliance is things there, the framework is there. So multiple things you will find out in the first domain. And the second would be the asset security. So in the asset security, the classification of your assets, okay, how it's going to work. And security engineering is basically, you can say that what type of applications the API is going to work, as sort of things is there. And cryptography is there into this. So, and the communications and network security. So you, most of the guys from the network background, so that you understand the VPNs technologies, OSI layers, modeling sort of things, all things. And identity access management, either 2FA, two-factor authentications, multi-factor authentications, okay, identity access management, how it's going to work, how to implement, where we need to do it. So all, and the security assessment and testing, this is sort of secure what applications testing sort of things. So we have some different tools and techniques available. DevOps is also one of them, so we can gonna use it. I don't understand all things is there. And security operations, the incident response plans is there. Okay, different security perimeters, for different sort of controls. And software development and security, how to development of security and software. So this is what the common 8 domains we're talking about here. And let's move further. Okay, so security and risk management, the major topics will be security concepts. Okay, the first thing and the second thing would be security governance, and the third thing would be the policies and the compliances. Okay, so if you're just talking about some security concepts, so have you ever created the the concepts like CIA thread, IEEE concepts we need to understand? Okay, and we're just talking about some governance, so we have some frameworks, so we have some legal compliance to understand, and some policies, standard procedures we need to understand here, and the security compliance is also the part of it. Okay, so we have what the first domains we have, the major what topics we will be continued in the legal and regulatory issues we have find it, and we have some professional ethics is there, risk management, personal security, and security test, training and awareness. So these are the some major topics which we have to learn into the next few slides. Okay, so we are just starting to the security and risk management security concept. So first thing, so any asset that has value to the enterprise, the term sensitive information means valuable informations, right? So tangible assets here, the physical one. Okay, the tangible assets are those assets where we can we can touch it, we can see that, and we can feel it. Okay, so if you can drop it on your food or bump or your head on it and it has value, it is tangible assets. Okay, so it seems like servers, hard disks, hard drives, data centers, optical disk facility, and skilled workforce. These are some what the tangible assets. So as per you, what type of you feel that this is a tangible assets and intangible assets? So any guesses that how can we get, as if you are a hacking sort of person, right? If you're going to hack of any systems or any security domain of any company, so what type of tangible assets you will like to go for it? How to get the tangible assets? Any guesses?
Like it's all physical assets or tangible assets, right?
Yes, you're right.
It's
Yeah.
all
Really like
the
on
desktop,
physical
laptops.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
servers like these kind of like should be the physical assets then.
yes, you're right. But if you are a hacker, right? If you are a hacker, and how do you get the tangible assets? How do you get the informations? Because tangible assets we require to get some informations. This is the one purpose we need to go for it. So what are the ways how to get the tangible assets of any company?
So
It's
to
like
like
we have to
We have to steal it.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Ultimately, they should be having some physical access to the company and steal the things.
Yes, yes. It is one of them. But as we are talking about the tangible assets, so I suppose if you are working professionals and you have seen that in the financial, in the purchase, the sales, they are sitting in their desk and they have the number of what IP addresses details are shared. The subnet is there. The what the architecture sort of things is there in front of the what network guys and the database sort of sides. So if you are a sort of hacking sort of skills you have, you just get to know that what type of different IP addresses, subnet range, the diagrams is there, network skills is there. You just came to know all sort of things. So these are the reconnaissance is basically footprinting sort of things you can do it. So as a security guy, you need to understand some the hacking, the active attacks and the passive attacks and the cyber security concepts. You also understand at the same time, right? Because if you are in the security domain, right, so you have to understand the pros and cons of security same time, right? So you have to look like what hacking sort of things, and how second time you are working as a penetration tester sort of thing, so that understand how to defensive approach of your security, and how your active attack sort of things you can go for it, right? So in the printer side, okay, in the centralized printer is there in the company, so that where you can find it, the different informations of the papers are of the employees are there. So you will get informations, from the desk desk side, okay, and there are different parameters you will find out of the tangible
So,
assets.
so collecting information about the IP address or the diagram and everything, whether that would be coming in the physical asset here.
Yes, the physical assets, we can say that the informations gathering informations from the physical
Okay.
things. Suppose you just getting the print out of any employee salary on the printer side, okay. So you have some physical assets where you can touch it, you can feel it, okay. The information can be leaked from anywhere, right? So you have to find out the information leaked sort of things.
So Mahesh, a question on that. Are we talking about the information or are we talking about the asset? So asset could be a physical hard disk, which may or may not have an information. I understand that when we say accessing the asset or getting possessing the asset, then technically you're talking about the information or the asset.
It is about the informations, right? Assets is we can get the assets, but the matter of fact that what we're going to do, what's the purpose to get the what assets. We have to get some information. That is why we have steal the informations, we have get the informations. So as a security guy, you need to understand how to get a security, how to get information security sort of things. So your more prospects on the CSSP side, you have to information protection sort of things. That is why we are talking about the tangible assets. So in the tangible assets, suppose the hard disk have the different the number of informations are there, okay. So your prime motive is to how to get the informations not to be leaked to outside. That is why this ISMS 27000 is talking about, okay. So we need to understand what are the different tangible assets there, and what are the information inside the particular assets.
Okay.
Does it make sense? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the second thing would be the intangible assets, right? So software, soft data, intellectual property, trade secrets, information stored on the computers, databases, source code, data files, personally identifiable informations, right? So we need to understand the intangible assets. So intangible assets are those assets where we can, where we can see, we can't see that, because the license is the what we can say that it's intangible assets. The source code of the Google, it's intangible assets, right? Personal identified informations is intangible assets. The data files are the intangible assets, right? So the intangible assets are very important for any company, right? The trade secret, the property, intellectual property, trade secret. So we need to understand this is the intangible assets. If there's getting information can be leaked, so there may be some huge loss for the company, right? So first of all, the informations we need to categorize and then we have different assets, what type of different assets we have and what type of informations they have, and we have to categorize the informations, what type of informations are there into the particular different assets. Okay, then we have to understand this is the what different assets, different informations are there, and then we have to go for some valuable informations asset. So the value of an asset changes over the time, right? So if you just talking about some licensing sort of thing, so we have some different licensing licenses available, like Office 365 licenses, so E1 license, E3 license, E5 license, and Office Premium licenses there, right? So over the time, the value of the license will be changed, then the costing will be changed, the features of the change. Okay, so we need to always be take care about what type of licenses requirement, what are the charges, what are the features. Okay, so as per your company information requirement sort of things. Suppose if you're talking about in a company, you're just going to provide some Office 365 access to the of the person, MS Suite license, and the user is going to ask you that we required offline access of MS Office. Okay, so if you're going to provide the offline access to the users, then you need to provide them E5 licenses or premium services of licenses of the Office 365. Okay, so different licenses have different features and different requirement. You can just provide the license to the specific person. So the asset changes as per the over the time, right? It may become more or less valuable over time, and the productions required for an asset is directly related to the value of the asset. Don't overprotect, high cost or under cost an asset. The production must be cost justified, right? So the most important aspect is how to what different sort of assets we have, what informations in the assets, and the assets are what depend on the over the time, that if this whatever the cost is today, whatever the value of the license today, after 2 years there will be some different what costing and the features availability on the license. Sometimes we don't find the same sort of licenses there. Suppose we're just talking about some Office Windows XP license is not available right now, okay, because there is no support from the Microsoft end, and the Windows 7 sort of things. Over the time, there is no what license available, or there is no different costing is there. So we need to understand as per time to time, right? So we have some different informations assets available, right? So what are the valuable information assets? So intellectual property, trade secrets, know-how, financial informations, marketing informations, research and development programs, status, directions, raw materials, sources, vendors, customer list, and personal informations. Okay, so as per you, suppose you are just working in the corporate environment. So suppose if you would like to secure the information, so what are the tools and techniques and skills you're going to use it right now? Anyone can answer me? Hello? Yes, anybody have answered that? What type of precautions, what type of informations you're gonna save it? The classification of information sort of things, and right now.
Nice. You are talking about the precautions or the measures which we take against the data loss or something like that.
Yes. I'm just talking about what are the data leakages types, different types, and how do you procure them? If anyone ideas.
Yeah, so normally, Mahesh, what happen here is like, in case if we take example of any web server, okay, and ultimately we trying to like save the information for the web server, what has been stored on the web server. So there's several ways we have to do the security here. Like for example, we are using the firewall, we are using the WEF, or we can also do a vulnerability assessment. We can observe like what are the threats here, and we can mitigate the risk. So these all like basic things we have to deploy for any security here for asset.
Yes, you're right. You're right, dear. So, dear, but the thing is important here. Once you are in the CISSP domain, right? We can't say that we can go for only the one domain. Just talking about the applications security sort of things.
Yeah.
All the security is required, right? This is suppose if we have the instances available on the AWS side. or Azure side or Google Cloud, right? So we required some, and the cloud security, right? If we have the system security, so where we have server security requirement, then if we have the networks available, so the network security is requirement. Okay, and if we have the wireless, so we have wireless security is required. So every security domain is very big domain, and we have the cyber security is there. So we have different prospect, different data leakages of different places. So you need to understand different prospects. Yes, if you're just talking about some cloud security, so we have different security parameters in the cloud. Okay, if you're just talking about some network security, so IDS, IPS, DLP, sort of things we can do it. Okay, and how do we came to know all sort of security measures, right? So we are using the SIM solutions like security incident and management solutions, right? So SIM solution is basically providing the alerts, events. Okay, and then we can check it out, all the events and alerts, and then we can provide precautionary actions same time. So the example is basically, if you can use it Splunk, you can use it Cisco Radar, so you can use it ArcSight. These are some examples of SIM solution, security incident and management solution, right? So if you are working on the SOC environment, security operations center environment, so they are the the main areas where we can implement the security parameters, right? So we are talking about some intellectual property, trade secrets, and financial information. So these are some types of informations we need to be safe, right? Okay, so the valuable information sets of personal identifier information is usually a name with the financial account number, social security number, driver's license number, employee number, or passport number, right? So the matter of fact that we have to understand the tangible and intangible assets information is all about, and then we need to go for some trade secret, patents, copyrights, right? So this information is very important for any company to secure, and that is why the CISSP holder have all the informations, have all the knowledge about all those things, where things we need to do it for what, where we things we need to for what is the licenses, what is upgradations, what is the changes, and what, if you're talking about the technologies, the technology is dramatically changed all the time, so you need to be get updated all the time for the security changes, right? So this is we're just talking about some personal information, so financial account numbers, social account numbers. So these things need to be saved in the in what any company of informations, right? So additional information increases the risk. So addresses, phone number, birthplace, age, height, eye color, hair color, gender, material status, medical information, license, certification number, high school, college, career, etc. So these are some informations, what very important, because as you can say that if any person have a, what the phone numbers are going to change. Okay, then what happened with informations? Do you have any guesses that, suppose you are working in a company and your phone number is going to be changed? What is the impact on the on the your IDs, your authentication sort of things? Have you ever done it till now or not?
Now, how the phone number change will have an impact?
Yes, I will tell you in the authentication provider, right? Part, right? Because
No, but why authentication is required? Like I'll ask a question here that, let's say I am working in one company and I move to a different company, and the new company has to issue me a different number, which is like a employer provided phone. If my personal phone number changes, how it is going to change my risk?
No. This thing is different. I'm just talking about. Suppose the phone number you have just whatever your company phone or your personal phone numbers you have provided to the company, right? And these phone numbers will be updated into the two-factor authentications, right? The multi-factor authentication in Azure portal of Active Directory, right? So once you just going for authentication same time, right? So the OTP will be sent to your phone number, right? And if you don't have the same phone number available right now, so there is no authentication code, will be OTP not coming to your phone same times. So the QR code, generated same time or suppose Microsoft Authenticator app is there, okay, and the Google Authenticator app is there. So these are the two-factor authentication. There, this is the same time you require the same phone numbers or correct informations requirement same time, or same email ID, or the security is basically what you are, what you have, somewhere you are. So these are the important factors in the multi-factor authentications you need to be learned. Make sense?
No, sorry, I could not could not understand and relate to this slide, which is right now reflecting on the screen.
Okay. Have you ever applied the multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentications till now?
Yes.
Okay. And in the multi-factor authentications in the Azure portal, Active Directory Premium, you have provided your phone numbers?
No, I don't use Azure. I use, let's say I'm using a Google account, normal Gmail account. So I'm trying to connect your Azure concept with this slide. I'm just focusing on this specific slide. I just wanted to understand that. Like you have mentioned, and this slide is just showing valuable information assets. Like additional information increases risk. And additional information increases risk for security professional or for the individual who has provided that information as a part of their submission.
It is for everywhere, because if you know what, in the social media, right, suppose Facebook or your LinkedIn account, you have just provide your informations over there. So if somebody is a hacker mind, right, is going to hack, so first of all he will going to your social account, and then he will just get your phone numbers same time, or your or other information same time. So if you providing your additional information, so it will increase the risk same time everywhere. It is on behalf of basically social sites, basically just talking about in this particular slide. Okay, suppose you are in the LinkedIn, or if you're in the Facebook account, or if you have Twitter, or you have Telegram, or uh, on sort of informations, you just provide all sort of information. So it is easy for a hacker to guess the information from your side, what type of person you are, what your status, what your phone number, what's your date of birth, what your security questions, what's your eye color, etc. Height is all things. So once you the hacker is comes to the point, he will just find out your social sites and every information. They will going to check it out. Then they will they will get the advantage on your resources same time.
Okay.
Right. So just phone numbers I'm just talking about, because the two-factor authentications or three-factor authentications, we need to update the phone numbers. If the phone numbers are correct, then the OTP will be coming same time, because it is required the QR code scanning. And if the QR code not scanned properly, then the OTP will not coming same time. Okay, so these are the some things, security things you need to be understand in more depth, because the requirement is all about. Okay, so these are some security basic fundamentals we have studied. What type of security, what type of informations, what type of different information we need it, why we need it, or what sort of things. But the main topic will be coming right now is CIA and Triad. So to protect the valuable information assets, the confidentiality, keeping the secret, privacy, confidentiality of personally identifiable informations, and secrecy, and the unauthorized are unaware of the communication or info assets. So first of all, what the confidential informations, right? CIA Thread basically say that it's the confidential informations, how to secure the informations, right? How to information can be secured, how the confidential things will be coming in the picture, right? In term. So any examples you would like to share to me that this is the confidential things, we can go for it, or what type of things to giving the information very confidential?
I think you can apply like this type of encryptions. So if you encrypt some data, I think the hacker, it will not easy to read them, especially if you want to encrypt the database, the information, what's stored in the database. So if it is encrypted, so the hacker is very hard to read them and retrieve them.
Yeah,
this is one of the examples. Yes, so encryptions.
Yes, encryption is, we can use it, right? And can anybody tell me that what type of encryption is available? What are the different algorithms of encryptions? Which is the correctly we are using it?
It is 3 days AES.
Yes.
There is type of tokenizations in general. There's some solutions they are using such tokenizations, like changing the real values of the attributes, we can say.
Oh yes, you're right, sir. Right.
Yeah.
So confidentiality, we can say that if we just talking about some VPN concept is there, right? So you know what, phase 1, phase 2, one thing is need to be created. We have some different algorithms. We have 256 bit or 64 bit and 102 bit and symmetric and asymmetric, right?
Yes.
Informations need to be understand over there, right? So the public key or private key and the single key you can
Yes.
okay, the PKI okay. So these things you need to understand more thoroughly, because this will, you know what, tell you that which is the right approach where we can to be apply, right? So confidential things, you already know that the confidential things, how can we things are confidential. If the things are not confidential, then what happened? Any guesses?
Other person can easily like get the information, and it would be like easily he can view and like he can use it for the wrong manner.
Yes, right. So that is why required encryption sort of things, because if in the middle attack, right? So try to be very technical things, right? Because you are a CISSP student, so I need is more and more technical things, that if things are leaked, then the man in the middle attack, right? So you need to be little understand about the certified ethical hacking sort of things. You need to be also understand. So man in the middle attack sort of things coming to the picture, right? And the session hijacking has been done. That is why we require the confidentiality into the data. So okay, then second thing would be the integrity. The integrity is accuracy, authenticity, completeness, and consistency of informations. Integrity protections keep the bad guys away from the data. Integrity verifications verify accuracy of the data at the time of use. So any examples, any information you would like to share to me about integrity? What does it mean actually?
Integrity is again like next step, like after the like encryption. Like integrity is normally used like while we are sending the data to the other person, it should not be edited somewhere in the middle, so that it should be intact while it is reaching to the other person.
Okay, an example you would like to share to me where things I can be applied?
It can be used in the like you can do it SHA. You can use a public key like certificates. You can use it.
Yes, you're right.
I think integrity, you can apply it in different like type of systems, like Active Directory systems. You can apply integrity, database, like web protection, mail protection, in general.
Yes,
you can apply it everywhere.
Yes, integrity, it means the modifications of data, dear, right?
Yes, exactly.
So modifications of data, because you know what, you are sending this information to the different locations, right? And in the middle attack and the session hijacking, and if the data is going to be changed, then some different things are, you know what, going to destination side. So what we're going to do it, so precautions is basically digital signatures, dear. Digital signatures we required. Understand?
This is a similar of solutions called FIM, file integrity monitoring. Like any changes happening in the Active Directory, it will being the administrator will be getting notified. Any file had been transferred from server to other server, it will be notified.
Yes.
Anything happening, changes in the database, or any like any values, any attributes. So
yes.
This is type of integrity monitoring. I don't know what I can say, but this is the idea.
Yes,
my idea.
Yeah, it's right. So what we can say in a technical way is we can say it's a hashing value. You know that hashing value, yes. So so once you you know what, the client and there's a server, right? The communication is running. So the client how to get to know that the server is sending the right informations, and how does client know that the information going to the right server. So the digital certificate need to be installed on the client end, right? And
Yes.
in the digital signatures, what we have, certificate, what we have, digital certificate, we have some hashing values. And the once the client is going to send information to the server end, so it will check the hash value. It is the same hashing values as remain same, so there is no integrity of the data, right?
Yeah, correct.
So this is the things we need to be check it out here as well. That is why we going to implement the TLS, transport layer security is there, SSL and TLS is there, right? So basically
Right.
what the TLS and SSL is going to do it, first of all, they will check the data certificates, the informations is never be changed, there is no integrity into the data. That is why the client and server communication is going to run absolutely fine. Okay, so we require some accurate data. That is why the integrity comes to the picture. Okay, that's good. We have also going for availability. So having the information accessible when it is needed. So any examples you would like to share to me, or any suggestions, any informations, any examples or
Availability is manner like in case we lose something, like it can be restored easily. Like we can give example of DCDR. We can even, if normally we can talk example about the mobile phone. If we lose access, if we are saved our data somewhere in the like cloud, Google Cloud, or like iPhone somewhere, and we can restore it. So that is kind of availability. Like in case something goes wrong with our information, we can simply restore it.
I think
okay.
availability is a generic information. So whether availability in network part, availability as a system part, availability in the data itself part. So I think availability is it's a generic.
Yes. But I would like to go for some examples, dear. One or two examples that is enough for me to understand.
It's something like the data should be available to the authorized person. I mean, like for the data availability, for example, if we talk about the data backup solutions, we take the data backup solution for server, the critical servers and or the major business applications. So in case of any disasters or something, we can just go back to the backups what we took, and this can be an example for availability.
Yes, this is absolutely right. But we have seen what different technologies comes to the picture here, right? Some also you just talking about some data backup. So we have RAID 5, RAID 6, RAID 10, right? First thing is there.
Yeah.
We have some Veeam solutions. Okay, we can
Right.
Yes.
we can use
Yes.
Veeam solutions we have, right? So what is the use cases? Because we have availability of data at the same time. That is why, right? We have some backup solutions. So I will give you some
Right.
more example. Like if you're going for the disaster recovery plan, okay, so
Right.
you required the available informations at the right time, at the right people, okay. So what you're going to do it in the cloud security sort of things. If you have a, you know what, the situations comes, the circumstances are there, you need to architect the cloud security, and the availability comes to your mind same time. So what you going to do it?
This is in case if you have DC and DR. You're talking about the availability between DC and DR.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
So I think one of the things is the DNS. As long as the DNS had record for many, you can say global IP addresses. So if one of the data centers have some services and goes down for some reason, so it will go to the DR direct, and the DNS, it will stay the same, the domain, the DNS records, I mean.
Yes, but I'm talking about the cloud security. So what is the main thing, the architecture part? Which things you need to be take care for availability prospects? Any guesses? Yes, we understand what is availability, what is use cases, what are advantages, but how can we use in the cloud environment of availability?
So like, for example, if we take example of Azure and we do have like DC and DR setup. So like while we are setting up a DC, we have taken like kind of environment, logical environment in one zone. Okay. So like while we are taking the DR, we would be taking to an other zone, but there should be a connectivity where all the data would be restored with the DC to DR, every based on that like timings or the like policies defined, we would be sending over the data to DR, and the exactly set of servers we would be like setting on the DR as well, and all
Yeah.
the kind of security like data interest or something, everything would be checking here.
Hmm. Yes, it is correctly fine. So in the cloud security, the DR, if we are going to architect the cloud security, right? So first of all, we need to take the availability. So availability zones need to create. Okay. So availability zones need to be created for different locations, right?
Yes.
So disaster recovery sort of things. Think like you have to, disaster will be coming to the one country, and we have some different countries is there. So we have what different availability of your data will be the some different region same time. Okay, so the data replication, the synchronization between one database server to different database server same time. Okay, we have to create a resource group in the Azure side, right? And then how your data is moving from one end to another end, right? And if we just talking about some more into the availability sort of thing, so we have S3 bucket in the AWS side, and we have and Glacier is also in the AWS side. Okay, so what type of data, what type of availability of data? We have some archiving data is available, right? We don't require the data as usual, but we have 1-2 terabyte or 3 terabytes of data of the company, and we will require available of any time, just because of the compliance. Okay, in the banking sector of any different companies as prospects, we required 3 years data. We have required some 7 years in data logs of the informations of the data. So we have some availability of data. So what we can do, we could require some precautionary access, like we need to move to the data to the Glacier. Okay, so it is archiving. It will be my data will be available in 4 to 5 hours. So what the costing of the data will be very less. Okay, so these sort of things you can just take care in the cloud security's point of view. And if you are in the system integrity, local system availability sort of thing, so you can go for some VM solution. You can go for some red 5 red 10 sort of solutions, so that will be available on time.
Yeah. And some organization they're using the hybrid actually.
Yes, this is a hybrid
within
sort
the
of
cloud. Yes.
Yes. So could you please tell me that if your data, suppose you have taken the Office 365 portal of your company, right, and all your mailboxes into the Microsoft Azure portal, right, Exchange, right? So how what is the use cases or sort of things? So, your board of directors tells that your Exchange server is not available, all sort of things on the cloud. So how do you convince that all things are secured?
See, the availability is very important. So whenever you have any access to any, which available first, the user he can access to it. So if the cloud does not exist, to accessing to the cloud, at least we can say the on-premise, which is published to the internet, is still accessible. So availability is still there. If some Microsoft Azure in a specific country, it's not accessible, so it can be accessible from different countries. So this is, I hope I answer what's the question that you asked.
Oh, yes. So there are some multiple factors also important here at the same time, because suppose if any client, you are working on a company, right, and you some of your salesperson going to any client, and they will check that we required some businesses. So they will check that is my information is confidential or not confidential in your company, right? So we have to check some compliances. We have to check some ISO 27000 certified company, or not, ISMS is implemented or not implemented, sort of things. So the security is matters, right? The CMI level 5, the ISO certifications on different ITAR certifications and different federal certifications required for any company, right? So any cloud you choose, first of all, you will just check it out, different certifications on the cloud, right? So the PCI DSS, ISO 27000, CMI level 5, ITAR, or different certifications has been taken by the Azure or Google or different things. So it's very authentic, you know what, and your information will be available on time and as per your credentials. So very secure information is all the time, right? Okay, so the thing is, CIA tried to protect the valuable information assets. How confidentiality is implemented through access control and cryptography. The attacker can't get to the informations to read it. The attacker can't understand it. Hello? Hello? Could you please mute the audio because it's
I'm
unable.
sorry.
I think Tariq need to mute.
Yeah, please mute your videos because other one is getting problems. See. Okay, so we will move further then. So how the confidentiality will be implemented on the business side. So they implement through the access controls and cryptography. The attacker can't get the information to read it. The attacker can't understand it if he can get it. So any projects you have done it till now, sort of confidentiality implemented into the company? Anyone can guess it?
Basically, like Mahesh, like from the security perspective, like we have done like VPN multiple time. Also, like with the VPN, also certificates, digital certificates we have like deployed. So that way
Yes,
we have
yes.
done it.
Okay. Any access controls you have configured till now? Any access controls, biometric system, CCTV sort of things, and how do you check this? Things are what implemented in
Not
access controls?
biometric, like from normal like access ACS kind of these kind of access control we have done it, but not biometric.
Okay, okay. So the confidentiality is basically if your information confidential, so we require some access controls. So IEEE comes to the picture, identity and access management. Have you heard it? So first of all,
Yeah.
what type of information is required to whom? Okay, so the access controls need to be provided. So permissions, if you have Windows servers or okay, so we have security, we have sharing features. So what type of permissions you're going to provide to the different person for different requirements, sort of things. Okay, so the other person cannot be read the information same time. So we can implement access control and identity access management sort of things.
I think there is one of the technologies called privileged access management, PAM solutions. I think it
Yes.
can be used also for confidentially. Not all the people are privileged to access to a specific system or specific data. Or
Okay,
yeah.
and there's a term used current environment is identity and access management. So identity as access management, what type of things do you think that we need to change it, and what type of protocols you are using it, and what type of authentications are using it? Any ideas? Have you ever worked on it till now? So like LDAP, like Kerberos.
Yes, LDAP, LDAP, Kerberos, and Radius as well, especially for those who want to access through the network. Um, if .1x is implemented, so also the Radius also can be work on that part.
Yes. So guys, do you know the SSO?
Single sign-on.
Yes. How does ADFS gonna work it? Active Additional Services.
Like example, if let's give example, if someone like just recently hired in the company, example, some financial from the financial department, and that financial department, they have only access to a specific systems, to a specific data. So in that time, so they will give them the identity in order to control him to access to any specific systems.
Yes,
So it's
SSO
like
is
it's similar to triggers. So financial people, they will access to the financial system with financial data with different like servers, different systems. HR, they have their own similar like that.
That's basically the role-based access allocation for any system, just to make sure that there is a confidentiality of the data from other roles which don't really need that information at any given point of time.
yes, you're right. So what I'm trying to tell you, in the SSO environment, single sign-on environment, we have, Active Directory Federation service is going to run it. So only one credential is going to you required to log into all the applications of MS of a suite, like SharePoint or like Outlook, like and different things. You're just going to log in from a particular one password same time. Okay, so this all the authentications will be managed by the Active Directory as Azure end. So you just need to be change the password from one locations, and it will implement it all the way on your side same time. So it is, so we can say that it's a role based accessibility sort of thing. So what type of roles of the persons we can provide this sort of what identity access management sort of things. So that is why the configurability will be remain same.
Yeah, so technically, if my understanding from a role-based perspective is that if an individual is a developer, probably will have a different level of access into databases or application, maybe sometimes having an administrative level roles to run the exe, versus a normal operational guy probably will not even have access to the databases, will just access the front end to run any kind of process.
Yes, you're right. That is why the AWS and Azure and Google Cloud or Office, so most of the cloud vendors, right, implemented the role-based sort of access on the particular cloud side, right? So if you're just talking about the Azure side, or if you're just talking about some AWS side, we have some different roles, different features. Even we have some features availability for the developers, different features availability on the admins, different features available on the implementation side. So we can provide some features based and the role based access to the different persons, so that they can do it whatever they required only, and not from each and everything. That is why the third party auditing, okay, third party auditings, the auditor will be asked the same questions, that if you implement the different cloud vendors, then if the third party is going to access your AWS cloud or Azure side, so what's your security concern is there. So that is why the confidentiality is very most important prospects. What type of rollback accesses you're going to provide to different people, and how do you monitor that, how do you control the things, is important prospects in the confidential environment, right? Okay, so in the implementation of confidentiality, we can understand the second concept is integrity is implemented. So integrity production implemented through access controls and crypto, same things looks like. Integrity verification implemented through hashing messages and digests, right? So have you ever implemented the integrity sort of things in any company, like the data not to be changed and not to be modified?
Yeah, there is one solutions that can do it's called file integrity monitoring. So we implemented actually one of our customers, but the vendor themselves, they implemented, but the customer that was asking that if I need to know who and what and where this file had changes. Example, if you have a text file, that text file it have some specific strings, and you need to know what is the changes, what is the compliance. Yeah, this type of solutions, they can show out what's the changes happening in this file.
Okay.
Whether you shifted from drive to other drive, even if you edit the file itself, it can show this type of things.
Okay, so the main important aspect is there. Have you ever guys done the forensic investigations till now or not? Forensic investigation sort of things like if the any file is be going to be changed, okay, does it you know what, providing to the courts or not? Legal aspect sort of things. Suppose the hacker is going to hack one of the your system, and you just find out the file, okay, and you know what, this is the file, you know what, it is admissible in the court or not, and what is the requirement sort of things in the forensic investigations. So what things you need to be take care in the forensic investigations of integrity side? Have you ever done it or not done it till now? Anyone? Okay, so the forensic investigations, yeah, if you're going to done it, so first of all we require the data which is, you know what, um, not to be, you know what, integrated, not to be in what test, because uh, what we can say that if any files will be changed, okay, so first of all the logs, the events will be there, right? And the event, if sometimes the, you know what, the hacker is change the events and the logs will be removed same times, okay. So the forensic investigation person is going to check with the, you know, fingerprint sensor sort of things, and he is also doing the reverse engineering sort of things. In the reverse engineering, what is happened, the reverse the code, okay, and just find out the source. Basically what we are generally what we are doing it, we are going source to destination, okay, but but the, you know what, the issues happen to the destination end, then we're going to destination to source end. Reverse engineering sort of things comes to the picture same time. So we required the files would be, you know what, you know what, not to be modified. That is why the implementation of digital signatures, okay, the cryptography sort of things comes to the picture. So if the hashing value will be changed same time. If the hashing value will be the change, then we came to know that this is, you know what, we have done it, some modifications into the files or you know what, folders, and it is not admissible in the code. Because if you have the legal advisor of the company, okay, and he would like to check whether the data is integrity is done or not done it. Okay, if the, you know what, the hashing value will be changed, and then there is no advisable in the code of particular evidence. So in the, you know what, in the forensic investigations, we required some evidence to prove in the court, and if it is that it have hash value will be changed, then there is no evidence you have available, so that it is not admissible in the court. That is why the companies always, you know what, hire a you know what, legal advisor. Okay, and legal advisor, if suppose any hacking will be happened, so that you need to as a CSP or CTO will be, you know what, direct report and sending all the information to the legal advisor, and the legal advisor will let you know what needs to be done for the legal prospect sort of things.
So a question on that, Mahesh. So
Yes.
for example, this is, you're talking about the integrity of the data which got hacked, or the, let's say, logs of that action which happened on the system.
Mm-hmm. Basically,
So
I'm talking about the data basically, because the right now, you know what, if you are going for the reconnaissance and the footprinting sort of thing, so hacker is very smart. He will, you know what, the logs of the particular file will be, he will remove. Okay, so you don't have evidence available admissible in the code. But what we can say that if the file is going to be changed, right? So hashing value will be changed same time. Okay, so hashing value, as the hashing value, we can, you know what, forensic investigations, the person always will be very you know what, checking all the time the hashing value. What was the hashing value once it is coming from source end, and what is the hashing value once coming into the destination end? If the hashing value will be, they will be remain same, so there is no modifications in the middle. Okay, and if the hashing value will be changed, then there is some modifications has been done. Okay, so we have some, and another term is the CIA Triad is the protect the valuable information assets. How availability is implemented through redundancy, co-locations, and fault tolerance. So I already suggest you that fault tolerance, the Z5 technology, VIMs, and different backup solutions you can gonna provide it. The co-locations is basically it is used for the cloud computing. So we have different locations, the availability zones you can create, and syncing the database to different locations same time, and then you will get your data, right? And the redundancy is basically it is terms for networking sort of things. Okay, we have redundant HSRP basically used for the redundancy. So do you know that HSRP is all about?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, then that's good,
No,
because
I don't know. Sorry, if you can just elaborate that, because it'll be helpful for me.
yes, tell me, sir, what HSRP is all about.
Okay, HSRP is again like it's a like standby. Like for example, for any networks, we do have like router. Okay, and it is going down to some reason. So we do have two other routers. So what happened is like from primary and the other router, the HSRP protocol runs in between, and we do have like single like VIP protocol, like IP address for the like default gateway and all. So our traffic would be going to the primary IP address as a like if that is up, but in case of the failure, it will be going to the same IP address, but that time the traffic should be going to the secondary router. So the HSRP is like kind of protocol running between the like two devices.
Yes, and anyone can tell me that about high availability, because you all are from some of the networking background. So high availability is also the example of availability.
I think this is the same thing which just now that he has explained. Like we have a primary and secondary device. Like more of the when we tell about this switches, core switches or the routers, we have the primary switch and the secondary switch. And
Okay.
in case if any something happens with the primary switch, the function and the overall functionality, the services, everything will be switched to the secondary one. It's something high availability, as per my understanding.
Yeah, it's perfect. And what is
Some things that's
active
applied in the
taxi?
firewalls.
Yes, definitely. Because the
Yes.
redundancy is we're just talking about one by one. The redundancy is for networking sort of things. Co-location is it's for the cloud computing sort of things, reference, and the fault tolerance basically is for Red 5 technology, Red 10 technologies sort of things. Local, backup servers availability sort of things. Okay. So my another question is basically we are using some time ago clustering, right? And currently we have those load balancers in the market,
Yes.
right? So what is the use case of load balancers? Does this use for availability sort of things or not, the load balancers?
Yes, it can do availability and the application, especially the applications. In case if you have applications, front-end servers, applications in different servers, and you want to just share the loads between these servers, so it will keep the availability same. And even if one of the servers goes down, so the load balancer is still load balancing the other servers, so the availability is still there even in the application layer.
Yes, you're right. Yes. So we have different load balancers available in the market. It's F5 load balancer, right? We have some readware load balancers available.
Ether networks, they're doing good actually also.
Yes, and HA proxy is also the load balancers, right? And some time ago we have using the clustering sort of things. And if you move to the cloud computing, so we have some different what load balancers available into the cloud environment of Azure and AWS, right? So you have all the basic understanding about your local infrastructures. If we have not working in the cloud environment, if you're talking about some local infrastructure sort of things, so what sort of infrastructure implementations, and if you're just moving to the cloud, what type of load balancer you require it, if we have different web servers availability, so we require some, what type of load balancer required, what is persistence, okay, how the pool members going to work it, okay, and what are the IP addresses, all sort of things you need to understand for the availability prospects, because it is mandatory to understand each and everything, because you need to suggest for the management what is the right approach to doing these things, and what is the cost effective solutions is all about, right? That is why these things are very important, this prospects. Okay, so we have some, the risk is there. So vulnerability is a weakness in the system or processes, implies the absence of a countermeasures. Vulnerabilities are internal and more easily managed. So guys, if you have a chance to get a vulnerability find out in your existing company or your previous company, so what's your views about it? What type of vulnerabilities is there, and how can we find it? Because once you find out the vulnerabilities, the weakness in the systems, and how to resolve the things, what's your countermeasures about it? Any ideas?
I think the password is one of the vulnerabilities that the hacker sometimes is targeting it. If some users using like a simple passwords, so it will be easy considered as a vulnerability. So password policies is very important for that part. So strength the systems from anyone try to access to it. A password is one of the examples.
Okay, and if the password is this, the risk is all there, vulnerability you find out, how do you mitigate the risk?
Mitigate the risk is like if on users levels, if someone try to, in case if he's trying to access by his username in the Active Directory, so just simply whenever he log out, so we can just ask him to reassign a new password for that, or we can do it if there is any incidents happening, so we have to take it an action. Like anyone should have to log out, then log in again with the new password. So similar to this one.
Have you do you know that brute force attack, dictionary attacks, brute force attacks and dictionary attacks?
No.
Yes. So, okay.
One is like brute force attack, other what you're saying?
Brute force attacks and dictionary attacks.
Dictionary attacks.
Yet the attacker will try with multiple words. I mean, like the words which is available in dictionary. Like within a minute, they will try with millions of words, and which is whether they can crack the account.
Yes, you're right. So, my dear friends, is just talking about if the password sort of attacks, the vulnerabilities you find it. So first of all, we know that this true information that users are going to use some simple password. Yeah, like
Right.
okay, and
Yeah, for passwords, actually, we have like the I mean the predefined, I mean standards. Like the password should be alphanumerical, with the special characters and all those things. So those things, I think.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So those things, I think those controls we can apply through group policies.
So
But also probably the point, one of the group policy should be also to make sure that if a wrong password is being entered like a specific number of times, it should lock the account for a administrator to access it.
yes, you're right. So this is the vulnerabilities you find it. The first thing is the problem area is basically the users is going to use the password of very simple sort of things. So you can say that we have different tools available of Symantec or Norton tools for the harder password. Okay. Second thing, you will implement the policies, numerical 8 characters, alphanumerical characters. You can go for it. Number two. Number three things, you can apply the two-factor authentications in your company, right? So it was OTP comes to your mobile, and the email, in the email, personal email ID, he will get the OTP. Three things he can do it. and how to crack the password. So brute force attack is basically, we can say that, suppose I know the person that he's what is going to do it. I know a little bit of information about this, his Facebook account, or it is the LinkedIn account or YouTube account or whatever. Okay, so I just going to use his email IDs of the the date of birth of the person, okay, the pet name of the person or whatever. So you just in a daily basis what he going to do it, so you
Yes.
can easily understand, yeah, he's the password should be looks like that one. Okay, and the second things, the dictionary attacks, you can go for it. So we have different tools available of password cracking. So dictionary attack is one of them, so that in the dictionary it will find out all the series of your keys of the keyboard. Okay, so that it will taking lots of time, 3 to 4 hours, if it is a hard password, or it's very a very easy sort of password. So dictionary attack can we use it same time, so it will crack the things. Okay, so this is we can reduce the this weakness into we know that the problem areas and how to fix the solution, we know that. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so we have some more important terms is the threat. So vulnerability is different thing, threat is some different thing. So threat, the possibility that vulnerability might be exploited, which will introduce loss. Okay, so internal threats and the external threats, and the internal threats are somewhat but not very controllable. External threats are much less controllable. Threat agent, active ingredient that causes loss. So any ideas about the threats, internal or external threats, you have just find it.
Whether like employ the internal threat.
Okay, so my question is basically, what is the
Yes.
weakest link in the company?
Internal threats.
Misadministrations.
The weakest link is employees, dear.
Employees,
Yeah,
misadministration.
that's what I said.
Misadministrations.
Internal threat.
Yes. The human.
The human, yes. Because you know what, if you just in some of the companies, you know what, everywhere you just find out, what is the weakest person and who is going to share the information very easily. Just find it and he will tell you everything. Okay, so your firewalls, your phishing, you don't need to go for phishing attacks, you don't go for the brute force attacks, you don't go for the malware attacks sort of things. Nothing required. You have to just give some amount to the particular person, or you just provide some information, then he will just share all the information same time, right? So weakest link and security is the human, right?
Yes.
Other than that,
It's like you're providing weapons and all the equipments that needed, but the thing is they don't know how to use it. This is the weak point.
yes, but sometimes in the security what courses which I'm learning some time ago. So the script kiddies, right? Because the hackers will be the black hat hackers, that gray hat hackers, white hat hackers, script kiddies. So the types of hackers, right? So the script kiddies are those persons who are just don't know what to do it, and they are just hit and try sort of things. Okay, they don't know what is the what use cases or sort of things. So this is things we can what the sort of threats. So we are just talking about some internal threats and external threats. So you think that the internal threats are the employees? Yes, we can say that. And external threats are much less controllable. So what are the external threats?
Virus, malware.
Vendors.
Yes. Third party risk management. Have you ever know that? TPRM. If you have done the ISO 27000, there is a thing available. If you have done the CISA, okay, Certified Information System Auditor. So there's a lead implementer and the lead auditor. So there is a what you need to do it, the third party risk management sort of things. So the third party risk management is basically you have different vendors outright, suppliers, right? And if they are going to access your AWS cloud portal, right? So this is your external threats there, and you need to control. Okay.
So anything related to cloud, it's an external, or we can say if someone have a data center and he have published some services outside, so can be considered also as a like external threat if something exposed to the internet from the internal network.
Yes, it may be, because what type of what business is basically. Suppose supplier is going to use your portals, right? So it's external threat same time, right? Outside the companies has been done, and the internal threats or somewhere in the company. Okay. So suppose you are using a wireless, okay, and your some wireless, okay, it is open. Okay, there is no security on the wireless. So, and anyone can use it, your wireless, just connecting the wireless, and then you can use it. Okay, so open wireless is a threat for the company. Okay, suppose you purchase a new printers. Okay, in the new printers there's a wireless options available, so you can just open the wireless connectivity same time, open the ports.
It will cause a backdoor. Someone tried to
Yeah.
access through the network through that.
Yes. So if you are working in the banking side, so banking and sort of thing, so there is, what, very secured environment is there. So every open port, every single things, they will came to know that, yeah, this port is open, this need to be closed same time. So backdoor attacks need to be done. So most of the DDoS attacks, right, happen just because of we don't care about the security parameters or threats is available same time. So the thing is that threat agent is basically active that causes loss. If you have done threats are there, so then there's a loss is there. Okay, so this is produced when vulnerability and related threat are present, quantified by combination of likelihood and impact. If there is no threat or no vulnerability, there is no risk, and exposure reduce the attack surface of exploitable area. So there is, we cannot say that the 100% security we can provide to the company, right? So we have, provide the risk minimum to minimum sort of things. We have, reduce the risk, mitigate the risk, we can transfer the risk. Okay, we can some of the risks we can accept it. So loss is compromise of CIA, negatively affecting profits. Countermeasure control that mitigates or eliminates risk. So the reduces vulnerability, likelihood, and or impact must be cost justified, applied in multiple layers, right? So tell me one thing about that. If you are well about the networking background, so in the application layer, what type of risk we have? And do you guys working on, what, gateway level securities or endpoint securities as well? Hello? Any idea about it? The gateway level security, you have worked on it now or not?
Manish, it's not clear your question.
Yeah, have you ever worked on the gateway level security or
Yes.
endpoint securities?
Yeah, endpoint security. I'm working on endpoint security.
Okay, and in this, my question is basically, what type of gateway levels, what things are available? Because if any malware, any suspicious activities will be coming from outside to inside. Okay, your next generation firewalls comes to the picture right here. So what type of
Right.
countermeasure you can provide it on the gateway level security side?
For next generation firewalls, I think the new firewalls which is available now in market, like they have their own threat intelligence database, like which is having all the threat information, which the digital threat information which is there in our real environment now. So they all have the signatures and everything, and most of the devices are like they have the artificial intelligence, like they will detect the threats based on the sequence or the behavioral analysis too. So there are two things actually in when we are talking about the endpoint level analysis. Like we have the traditional signature based threat handling, and
Yes.
another thing is like the behavioral based threat handling.
Yes, you're right. So we have some pattern based and we have some signature level sort of things. And you know what? In the next generation firewalls comes right now is a layer 7 sort of security sort of things, right?
Correct. Layer 7. Yeah.
Yes.
And the legacy firewalls are basically is we can say that it's a layer 4 security measures, right?
Right. In layers, I
Stateful.
think in NGFS we have the facility to detect this excesses. I mean, like the uh, cross-site scripting, HTML hijacking, all those things.
Yes, yes, you're right, sir. So we have some Palo Alto devices available, right? We have some checkpoint firewalls available in the market, right? So these are some, you know what, and gateway level security. So you have to understand all in all, basically because modern securities, right? The malware attacks or suspicious phishing attacks has been done through your firewalls. Okay, it's proxies comes to the picture and which is bypass from your firewalls.
Yeah, I think there is some hackers that are using a tools called evaders. So they're trying to evade evasions of the firewall itself, so that they can bypass the firewalls even if they apply all type of security policies. So evasions can, yes, can the security gateway can stop it.
Yes, so there is no, you know what, we cannot say that this is 100% security we can
Not
provide to the
100%,
company.
yes,
Yes.
yes, but at least it can mitigate it for some in somehow.
Yes, yes, dear. So we were just talking about the risk management slide, no problem with this. Okay, so threats, what could happen? So the four primary types is natural, uh, Mother Nature having her way, tornado, Hercules. It's natural, so any disasters will be happen, right? So it's natural disasters, we can say that and fire, flood, tsunami, ice storm, blizzard. So you know that this is the threat. Okay, this is, you know what, the risk is there. So what type of things you need to be, you know what, create to mitigate this particular risk?
To just stay away from it, just simple.
Yeah.
No.
So
If you're
can
talking
you,
about natural human behavior, stay away from it.
Mani, can
Yes.
you repeat the question?
So the first thing, I think
It's
the
not.
first for the first thing we have this, then the disaster recovery controls comes into the picture, I guess. The
Any strategies? Uh, my question is
Strategy
basically
would be
what are strategies? Yes.
It's like if someone like send them to, like we have to find like evacuation areas so that they can everybody to be secure there, everybody to be safe, give the proper medications.
Okay.
This is, you're talking about natural. This is not IT. It's natural. Something
Yes.
like related to humans. Yes.
but I think probably the important point to mitigate that risk is that when we are identifying a place for a business, there should be a formal risk assessment of that location should be done to give us a view of what's the level of risk or what are the threats do we have and whether they fall under the acceptable limit of our business risk appetite or not. And based on that, deciding that whether we do the business there or we do not want to uh, we probably do a split operations in multiple locations and run the business from multiple locations to mitigate risk on people.
Yes, you're right, but I have some more different answers for this because
It's
it's
it's it's actually it should be mentioned in BCP, I guess, business continuity plan. Like, for example, there will be some areas like there will be an year there has to be a flood or there has to be a tornado or something like that. So we'll have an idea like this year there will be a disaster which is going to happen. So the management or the organization will take the the precautionary measures and everything, which would be through BCP.
yes, yes, yeah, that's what I'm talking to you because it's a CISSP course. Go for some more technical, more and more technical, more descriptive things you need to understand because the CSP examinations very tough here. You have four answers and four answers are correct same time, but which is the best one? You need to answer them. So the business continuity management is the right answer for the same thing. if the natural sort of disaster has been come down, so you need to create a business continuity plan. Why all the cloud vendors are going with this availability zones in different countries, different regions, just because of they know that there is some natural disaster, tsunami or flood or everything can be done in one country. But they, if you can, implement your secondary options in different countries same time, so your data will be syncing same time, and you can get the data from some different locations same time. Okay, so any one other question is basically to you all, that what is the difference between the business continuity plan and disaster recovery plan?
Here is like
I
a part
think
of BCP. So BCP is like a technical, like more technical documents, normal like explanation about how like we can recover it. But DR is a pure technical like thing.
DR is the recovery of data in terms of availability of data and technology. BCP is an overall document which talks about people, recovery strategies for people, business processes, and services.
right. Yeah, I think DR would be the subset of BCP, because BCP is considering the whole business, and the DR is only about the IT infrastructure, I guess.
Yes, you're right. Yes. So, dear, you're exactly right that the disaster recovery plan is basically it's for the IT infrastructure sort of. Any disaster will be happen. Okay. So what you're going to do it, the two things that come to the picture is RPO, recovery point objective, right? How much time to recover this particular service to working, right? Suppose your backup server goes down or your that goes down. So how much time? Okay, you will be recovering to the services 3 hours 4 hours time. Okay, second thing is RTO, is recovery time objective. Okay, how much time it will take and how much point, like if you have taken the backup, a differential backup, so how much data you can recover it. So the recovery point objective is basically is to which point you can recover it. Okay, suppose if you're working in the VMware environment, right, and you have taken screenshot 5 days back. Okay, and right now your VMware server, vSphere servers goes down, or not working, or anything goes wrong, then you can recover this particular image of 5 to 6 5 days before. Okay, so the recovery point objective is there. The recovery time objective is basically how much time to your services can be recovered. Okay, so 3 hours 4 hours timing sort of things. So this is those RTO and RPO is a part of disaster recovery management. Okay, and the business continuity management is a subset of disaster recovery management is a subset of business continuity management. So business continuity management is a tree, okay, and the branches of the disaster recovery management sort of things. So business continuity management, the other different things are available. What is a business impact analysis is also the part of it. So how much business is impacted due to this particular disaster recovery sort of things, or RTO and RPO, anything. Okay, so we need to be calculate the business impact analysis same time into the business continuity management plan. Does it make sense?
Right, right, sure.
Okay, so we will go move further. So man-made, willful attacker, sabotage, theft, fraud, strike, writer, litigations, political, legal change, others. So these are the solutions, social engineering. So these are the some what different types of what threats will be coming, man-made threats. This is some technical threats is there. The disk or server failure, software bug, vulnerability, virus, outbreak, malicious code, worm, network stages, supply systems, electricity, havoc, water, raw material sort of things. Okay, threats to data confidentiality, user account or system compromise. Okay, and loss of theft of laptop, removable media, printed content, eavesdropping, shoulder suffering, sniffer, investing, diving. So these are the some what threats due to the confidentiality. Okay, threats to data, integrity errors or omissions, insider fraud, availability, hard disk drive crash, server failure, network failure, man in the middle, okay, falsified invoices, corruptions, and DOS and DDoS attacks. And we have some liabilities or legal obligations of members, injured party for the losses, negligence. Due to the negligence, the litigation has been done, absence of this member protections, due diligence or due care, legally liable for members, injured party for losses, plus additional penalties for being negligent. Okay, so liability and negligence, all enterprises risk loss due to the legal actions. Most lawsuits target liability and amplify penalty amongst of negligence can be shown. Avoid liability and negligence to minimize liability losses. Avoid liability of negligence or of prudent management, embedding applications and protecting safety. So these are the some liability and negligence of sort of threats. So different threats need to be understand. Due diligence, development of knowledge and awareness of the risks present, ongoing prudent management and execution of policies. Due care is acting on the knowledge and awareness of threats and risks, implementation of countermeasures. So my question is basically for those things. So suppose you need to implement the security in your company, okay, and your company and the top management, not agree, or how do you satisfy? How do you convince them the security is important for your company? So security is basically we can say that it's sort of insurance sort of things. The top management thinks that if we don't have required, but you need to sell it, the security. So how do you convince the things? Have you faced this kind of issues earlier or not till now?
I think it was like probably 5-10 years back now. Even the business leadership also understand the criticality of a security risk. Probably cyber risk is their top risk right now in most of the technology organizations, even like any financial or any other organization. So they understand that now, and more it's now more regulator driven. So if regulator is there, so they understand that the regulator will come and audit their system and can cause a lot of damage to their reputation. So everyone understands these days.
Okay, great. So any examples you would like to share to me, the due diligence and due care? Do you know the terms, both terms, due diligence and due care?
I think we can provide a solution for, as it's mentioned, like awareness. Like we can send like phishing email as a simulation. So once the user he click on it, then it will show him some basic awareness that don't click some suspicious websites or something like that, so that it can be aware of this type of attack, and it could be like a breach for some reason. So similar to simulating the things on their environment.
Yes, you're right. Yes. Suppose the users is not going to use the difficult password, okay, 8 characters or alphanumeric characters. So you can send an email to your company and say that as per the policies, or you can say send on the publish on your company sort of things that please use some confidential password, 8 character sort of thing. So this is the development of the knowledge areas will be improved of your company employees. So this is sort of things you can do it. So
Yes.
these things also available on the governance sort of things, but the due diligence and the due care, you can provide informations to your users. Prudent person perfection is not legally required, just prudency. Implement countermeasures prudently, act as a man reasonable prudent person would under similar conditions, approximate cautions, actions or failure to act that leads to some loss. So prudent you can say person or prudent management. So how do you deal with this? Any circumstances will be coming in front of you that so what needs to be done in the prudent situations? Any ideas? So we need to communicate, we need to provide them, educate them, we need to provide the evidence, we need to provide them the right choice, that if we're going to do this, the security measures, then we will have to save money, same costing of the company, this is the right things for the business. Okay, so these things you can just provide them different things. So three primary types: administrative, technical, and physical controls, right? So administrative controls is policies, rules, regulations, laws, customs. Functional through users awareness and exceptions of compliance, knowledge of the associated penalties for violations. So administrative controls, how do you implement? Have you ever done it or not? Hello? Any
The policies and rules, actually it is from the top level management of the, or the governance team would be setting the policies, rules, standards and everything, right?
Oh yeah, yes, basically. So the administrative controls, the policies need to be published, okay, from different, suppose HR policies are some different policies, and you know what, the financial policies, the traveling policies, these are some policies need to be created some, okay, and we have
I think
different.
each, sorry interruption, I think each industry, they have their own administrative policies.
Yes.
Yeah, so like military people, they have their own administrative policies. Retail people, they have their own. OTs or SCADA, they have their own. This is general.
Yes, it depends business to business, company to company. They have the regulations, right? The rules of what they can follow with the person, right? So military have different rules, regulations. IT background companies have different rules, regulations of a production, and the manufacturing companies have their different administrative in what controls their requirement, right? So and some different things is there for different companies. Okay, so law and custom sort of things. So they need to follow it. Okay, this is a sort of knowledge base. Okay, and they need to follow it, the same sort of things. So the controls, I think technical controls, you know, that the software controls or permissions, encryption, firewalls, rules, antivirus softwares, and signature databases, IDs, IPS software, usually implemented by the system custodian, administrator, root, following policies and procedures. So these are some technical controls. You can go for it, right? Okay, so we have, you know what, in this, in the permissions. Okay, any examples you would like to share to me? Permissions or IDS, IPS, encryptions, firewall rules. Why? What is the difference between content filtering and web filtering? Any guesses?
Well,
Where do we?
filtering related to the web itself, to the URL itself. I think the content, it's within the traffic itself, the payload itself, you can say.
Yes. Okay, and what type of, you know what, the load balancing, so we can do it?
Load balancing,
Types.
load balancing, you can do like load balancing on internet routers. You can do load balancing on the applications level. You can do load balancing on the firewalls. It depends on where you want to position the load balancers. It depends on some services. Some customer like us, I want to do load balancing based on the DNS requests.
Okay,
So
you have
there is
heard.
different scenarios.
Yes. So you just read it, SD-WAN technologies, software defining technologies, right?
SD-WAN, yes.
Yes, SD-WAN controls. Okay, and quality of service. Have you heard it? Okay, quality of services you can provide. The bandwidth management sort of controls you can provide it. Okay.
Bandwidth management, yes.
Okay, so see, these are some technical controls you can do it of your company, right? Okay, so this is, you know what, usually we can do it. Okay, permissions, you know, that accessibility and identity access management sort of things, and types of encryption. So we have symmetric, asymmetric way, public key, private key, and what type of encryption. If we have a number of bits will be increased in the encryption, like 1024 encryption is there. Okay, it's very hard to guess, but it will take lots of time to decrypt same time.
Mhm.
So countermeasures and controls, so protect the CIA of valuable information assets, awareness training, monitoring, auditing, and detection, response and enforcement, defense in depth, and design in it. Okay, so your work is basically for the next classes. So the CIA, you know what, we have already we have studied right now. So try to create as much such information about the CIA, because it is 100% sure that there is one or two questions will be coming in your CISSP exam will be coming from CIA. So roles and responsibilities of senior management, so must drive the entire security program, defines the tolerance for risk, relies on the security professional for vision and cost justified recommendations to manage risk, approves specific countermeasures that produces their desired security postures for the enterprise. Okay, so this is some you know what senior management responsibilities. You can say that if the senior management is there, what type of responsibility need to on it. So this is simple things. You can just read it. I will share this particular slide to you as well. So roles and responsibilities of data owner, custodian, and user. So data owner is basically often a division manager responsible for all aspects of his assigned division, especially profit and loss. Custodian technician responsible for implementing approved security controls, and user has to needed access information assets, IT resources. So you know that data owner and custodian. What is the difference between two things? Do you know that? Any guesses about data owner?
Honor is I mean like he is I'll tell you the custodian. The custodian who is taking care of the things. I mean, like for example, if there is a few servers, there will be a business owner who is a ultimate manager for those assets, and there will be a person who will be taking care of the things like the server functionality, the server backup, all those things. So he is called as a custodian. This is what I believe.
Yes. What about data owner?
The business team which owns that data will be the data owner. I'll give you an example from finance perspective. Like if I have money, I'm the owner of the money, but I keep it with the bank. So bank is the custodian of that money, but the owner of that money is the one who owns that.
Yes, you're right. So the data owner is basically the data is belongs to. Okay, suppose the data from the financial data is basically the head of a finance head is the owner of the data, right? So whatever the profit and loss, whatever the modifications, whatever the changes, if anything goes wrong, so data owner is responsible same time. But the custodian is a technical person, right? If you have the custodian basically taking the backup, if the backup is not available, then the custodian is responsible. Okay, and if the data is any modified or any issues with the data, then the data owner is responsible same time, right? And user has to need the access to information assets and IT resources. So users can, you know that very well, the access the informations. Okay. Wait a second here. So are you able to see the screen right now?
No, we can see your photograph only.
Okay, wait a second. Actually, okay, are you able to see the screen right now?
Yes.
Yes.
So security and risk management. So CIA threat is ended. So any questions regarding it? What is threats? What is vulnerability? And what is CIA? How to implement CIA? Where to implement the CIA? What is security is all about? Anything?
There was one question in regards to threat agent. I didn't get actually that part while you were covering.
Okay, okay. Threat agent is basically what type of what threat is there. Okay, because we can say that if you have implemented the endpoint security solutions, right? So we have what need to be installed the agent on the system side, on the client side. Okay, and if
Yeah.
if this agent is not gonna run, or there is some vulnerability into the agent, okay, so this is also what if you're using the advanced threat protection, the endpoint security solution or semantic endpoint security solutions, so it will check whether the any agent have some weaknesses or not weaknesses. Okay, because sometimes you are what getting some APK files from your Android, and basically it is a malware attacks sort of things. Okay, once you install into the system and it is behavior will be changed. Okay, so agent will be installed on the client systems, and we have to check the different behavior of the particular agents threats, and then will be countermeasure strategy we will need to create. Okay, security and risk management, this is the second part we just talking about. So, okay, dear. So must be done by the senior management, CEO, or governance committee. So, dear, the matter of fact that the CISSP is basically it's just more into technical, but it is also we can use it for management prospect as well. What is the management prospects? What type of managerial skills you have? How to deal with the what different governance? Okay, security governance sort of things. Okay, and different circumstances coming in front of you, different sort of things, different times. So how do you manage all those sort of things? So the frameworks or the governance is very important. Mm. So senior management CEO or governance committee assigned or responsibility authority budget and resources, so must include support for the mission of the organization's specific vulnerabilities and threats inherent within the business, applicable laws and regulations, management vision, style, culture, and ethical postures, right? So these are some what things are included into this particular governance and framework sort of things. Okay, so we need to understand what is the what frameworks for governance is all about. So as the enterprise matures, at some point the need to protect its valuable assets becomes realized. This is the empiric state of the framework for governance. It is typically a 3-year project from this point until the enterprise has the major components of the security program developed and in the place and are operating within its guidance and more mature enterprise. So the thing is important here. First of all, the company's the vision, mission, and the objective, and how do you create your security to accomplish this company's objective will be accomplished of security sort of things. So all in all, you need to provide what security things all the times. So governance through the security programs, the program risk assessment, due diligence, understand risks, perform risk management, do care, implement controls, establish written policies, teach users and third parties and policies, monitor activities, evaluate effectiveness, and detect violations, take actions to remediate weaknesses and violations, repeat these cycles. So these are the some security program need to be run, right? So have you ever created run this particular sort of program still now or not? Any one of them?
No, I haven't done it.
Okay, so we study all sort of things. So management is busy managing, keeping their vision on business. Management has a little or no training or vision in IT security, right? So security professions, what a security profession need to do it, the awareness about the security in the company, because the management is always busy in their work and the vision and the profit sort of things all the time. And you know what, management has no training about the IT. So you need to conduct the IT trainings in the company same times. And the security professionals, the management needs to IT security professionals to provide vision on, understand business needs for IT, digest current IT in architecture and operational status, digest current IT vulnerabilities at risk landscape, identify potential cost justified improvements and countermeasures. So as a CSP holders, you need to provide, guidance, guidelines, suggestions, okay, and the processes of IT to the company, how to implement the security into the different prospects. Okay, suppose you're working in a company where the physical security is a main concern. So as a secure CSP holders, what type of security, controls you guys going to provide to the physical security? So anyone, any idea about what type of physical security providing things?
It is similar to CCTV cameras, like detections, what do you call this one? State detection systems. So we need to understand that how they are administrating it, how they are using it. Are they using it in a proper way or not? Is all the people have the rights to access to these CCTV cameras or not? This type of things.
I think from physical security perspective, I think there are very specific points in terms of how people access the premises and how people access the business assets. An asset could be information or any physical asset in the premises. So that's one. So for example, access card being issued, whether we have a clear identification of who access the office premises. Second, also connected with as like availability of CCTV coverage for any future incident investigation reference point. And third, if there are certain high vital installations like UPS room or even like server room, do we have more restricted access to limited set of people reviewed and approved by the data or the space owner, and just to make sure that yes, they have a clear understanding of who is accessing that space where they have critical assets.
Yes, you're right. So we can also check with the if you the disk register. Okay, so any disk register, as in disk is what we have to countermeasure. So we need to check the register of disk register, whether we have what disk is there. So we have what providing the information on the register or not, say, or whatever urgency it was, and all sort of things we can check it out all the time in physical security sort of things. So disk register is maintained or not maintained. Okay, or your physical servers are logged or not logged. Okay, and what type of temperatures required in the data centers? Okay, the cooling in temperature I'm just talking about here. Okay, so these things you need to be take as a security professional sort of things. Okay, so management needs the IT security professionals to provide vision to translate into common language or management cost, justification, profit loss, acquire, implement, and maintain approved countermeasures, evaluate revised IT threat landscape ongoing. So the management, all because management is always busy in their work for the management and different business activities going on. So as a security professionals, you need to be, translate in a common language like for management, because management don't know about too much idea about the encryption is all about, what type of encryption, what type of gateway level security is all about. They have the simple things. You need to say that these things happen. This is the if this sort of threat is coming to your company, then what sort of loss or what sort of things issues will be happen. So you can provide a simple presentations and provide to the information to the your top management, so that they can easily understand in very quiet manner. Okay, So this is things you can just providing, and elevate the IT, revised IT threat landscape ongoing. Okay, so different malware attacks or different modern IT zero-day attacks coming to the picture. So it can be happen anytime, so that you can provide the countermeasure sort of things, okay, from your side as a security professional. Say if it suppose if you not implemented the two-factor authentication or three-factor authentication, so you can implement the three-factor authentication same times. Two-factor authentication you can implement your side. Okay, you can provide the IT security policies over firewalls. You can provide the policies on your Active Directory. Okay, you can provide the policies over your LDAP or GRUB sort of things. So on the cloud side, you can also provide some role-based access management sort of thing. You can just identity and access management sort of implementations. So these are the major things you need to be implemented in the IT companies, right? The security programs includes due diligence, due care, prudent management, ongoing risk management, assessment and risk management, business continuity plans, BCP disaster recovery plans, data classifications, assistance in development of policy documents, aspects of employee hiring and termination practices. So this is what security programs, we can say that if the employee is going to terminate or is going to left, so what are the procedures you need to follow it as a IT security person? Anyone have done it till now or not? Hello. So today, mobile device management is come to the picture. So once the user is terminated or left the company, so what you think that what's security prospects you need to be take care?
If the person is leaving the organization or left like last day, so his like access should be deleted from the environment. Also, like physical access should be removed.
I think all the users, what he's using, the usernames, what he's using to access such systems should be stopped or blocked or something like that.
Yes.
And, yeah.
So the first things, we have some physical assets need to be taken. We have some identity and access management. What type of access and permissions allowed, we have to disable it. Okay. And
Yes.
if it is required, forwarding the information to some other person, so email forwarding needs to be done, right? And in the mobile device management things, suppose the person is configured the Outlook or emails on his personal device, so need to be reset the device or reset the particular account of the Outlook or the email, right, same time from his personal devices, so that the information cannot be go outside of your premises, and there's nothing can be used at same time, right? And we need to check it out, the person's access, and all the forms is there. So physical signatures of the form is mandatory, because and we have some ticket locking same time, and what type of things you have done it, you have to provide information on the ticketing and evidence same times, and then you can just close the ticket, so that once the auditor will be coming, and if this he would like to know that the users is left the organization, so what type of evidence, what type of access you removed it, so you have proper evidence available with particular ticket number, so that easily can track, right? So these sort of things you can do it. And what about the data classifications? So have you ever done it till now or not in your new company till now? Data classifications, type of data is all about. Do you know that?
Data classification, I think for me, from my company, I think they apply it in one of the data loss prevention solutions, DLP solutions. So they're using some type of data classifications. Like example, if there is like any documents that this guy had mentioned 5 times or 6 times, it means that this is very high confidential. it's type of categorizing the data to just avoid any like loss or data leakage to outside. So
yes, but my point of view is very different as per this, because DLP is one of the features, right? It's not a classification. So data classification, it is a
yeah, they're using data classification within the DLP. So this is what as far I know.
Yeah,
yes,
there are some solutions and some tools which are coming with both features. Like they can do the classification as well as the leakage prevention. For example, the McAfee DLP comes with data classification as well as data leakage
Yes.
prevention.
yes, it's a tool.
First point same.
So data
Yeah, it's a tool.
classification, we can say like classifying, like kind of labeling we are doing to the data, for example, like top secret, secret, confidential, kind of.
Yes,
I
yes, you're
think it
right.
can be applied on the emails. In the emails, if someone try to send a specific file, so it will be sent it to the specific people. If this is, it has high level of
Yes, but
classifications.
yes, my dear friends. But the thing is important here. You think like a CISSP holder, my dear. You are representing your company as a security CISO or CTO sort of things. So data classification is basically, first of all, labeling the data, right? What is your
Correct.
top data, right? Top secret data. So do you think what type of top secret data of your company? So top secret data of your company, where you know what the trade secrets, right? The
Right.
patents, the copyrights,
The
trademarks.
budget of the company.
Yeah, yeah, whatever say. So you have
Mm.
categorized the top secret data, and you know what, medium level of data on the public facing sort of data. Okay, and then once you categorize the labeling the data, then you can say that which data is data at rest. Okay, you have terabytes of data, and it is the storage, and the data is you have provided, and the data is in there is no use of data right now. Once we are going to archiving, then data will be coming same time. So data at rest in the storage databases sort of form. Data is at motion in the website, right? Once the client is going to access and the server is responding same time the data. So Amazon, okay, Amazon is sort of is example of sort of or your company email company website is a data in motion sort of things. Once you required data, it will be coming same time. Okay, so try to figure out the data classifications, labeling, data at rest, data in motion. Okay, so these things terms you need to understand. So as per these classifications, you need to create a strategy. This data you need to provide informations, or data you need to provide more security, and which data you don't provide not more security. Suppose your company data is for public, and okay, news sort of things, so there is no security required there same time. No number of security is required, but your trademarks or secret or everything then require some security parameters required same time. So we have to invest the money on the top secret data security. Okay, and which data we don't require security, then we no need to invest the of amount of money same time. Make sense? Okay. Then the security training of all the employees and ongoing security awareness, that providing informations, employees ongoing security training awareness. Yeah, please don't use this sort of password. Please don't, click on the suspicious emails. Okay, and suppose it is coming from malware attack sort of things, or man the middle attack sort of thing. So be, awareness of the people is very important. Monitoring, auditing, metrics detection, enforcement, incident and disaster response. So suppose any incident will be coming into company, so you need to take care of incident response plan. So we will talking about in the security operations of those things. Okay, it is coming there. So security program, the new organization chart, CEO, CFO, production, security, auditing. So this is this sort of organization chart, you need to be understand, yeah, where to implement, where to reporting. So there's no conflict requirement sort of things. Okay, strategic plans, technical plans. So security program, business goals. It's okay. So we need to understand the business goals is all about as a security guy. Okay, strategic plans, long term, heuristic vision and planning. The mission of the entire organization with the 3 or 5 or 10 years outlook. So we need to check the strategic plans for the company, right? So the company is taking this. We have the 10 years outlook. So we need to purchase a firewall, or we need to purchase some security appliances, which is, you know what, the 10 years easily you can use it without outdated, right? And the technical plans are more specific medium through a term vision and planning driven by the implementing the strategic plans 1 to 12 months outlook, right? So what type of MS Office, you know what, license we need to provide to the specific user? We can go for tactical plans same times. And if we, what type of devices, security device we need to implement, it's just a static plan sort of things. We can check it out. And operational plans verify data short-term and daily objectives focused on processes and procedures to accomplish tactical goals. So we can use this operational plans, day-to-day activities, what type of ticketing tools we required, so that we can easily log the ticket same time, and we can track all the users and everything. Contingency planning is alternate plan when the original plans fails. Oops, okay. So contingency planning requires a plan A, plan B available. So if plan A goes fail, then plan B, we can reuse it. The security.
Sorry, can you help me elaborating the key difference between tactical versus operational?
Contingency plans is basically the alternative plans, okay?
No, not contingency, the tactical versus operational.
Operation plans are basically very detailed plans, right? As for this particular slide, the short-term daily objectives are okay, because operation is the activity where we need to implement day-to-day activities, right? We have to monitor or we have to monitor the logs of the servers or network devices all the time, daily activity. This is your operational plans, we can say that, right? And we're just talking about the contingency plans is with the alternative plans when the original plans fails. Suppose your one plan is failed, okay? Suppose you implemented some wireless devices, okay, and one of your wireless device, one of the access point is goes fail, okay? So do we have available secondary uh, access point available in your company or not available? If it is this access point is failed, then we have another access point available, so we can use it same time. So there is no, you know what, we can say that downtime or sort of things is available same time.
So what is tactical plan?
Tactical plans are more specific medium term vision and planning done by the implementing and strategic plans 1 or 2 months outlook. So it is basically, the tactical plan is basically, it is for 1 month to 12 months sort of things, we can say that. So if you're just going to example, like what type of licenses we need to provide to the person, okay? Suppose any contractor will be hired in your company, right? And the contractor required, contractual person required some accesses on the folders of you can say the policies of the company, right? So what type of accesses we need to provide? Okay, suppose the contract will be expired within 10 months or 12 months or 2 months later. So we have a specific, you know what, tactical plans we need to create here, and we need to check that if the 2 months later, we need to revoke the access of the particular person same time. So it is very short term, 1 year, 1 month to 12 months sort of plans. So we have to just look all the time, this is what type of short-term goals we have, what type of long-term goals, what type of planning we can do it. Short-term planning we can do it, 10 years planning we can do it as a security parameters. The security program is provide oversight in the development and enforcement of the collection of the policy documents and establish the security postures of the organizations and must assure completeness and comprehensiveness of the policies, right? The security program develop and perform security awareness training to deploy knowledge of the current policies for all employees annually for the new hires, third-party service providers, supplementers training or privileged and specialized users, remedial training for the visitors. Violators provide oversight with third parties regarding compliance, right? So this is, what you need to develop the plan, develop, what security awareness, okay, and this security awareness for whom, for all the employees or new hired employees or third party providers or supplemental training or privileges sort of things, specialized users. So these things you need to be, what taking all the time that what needs to be done. So as a security guy, you have different challenges all the time. So frameworks for governance are documented, formalized through organizational policies. So policies and standard high level procedures and baselines, details and guidelines and recommendations. So have you ever created the IT policies or HR policy? What type of any policies till now? Have you created any standards for your company? Anyone? Hello? Yes, I would like to know that if have you ever created the any IT policies or standards, and what is the difference between policies and standards?
I think policy is more connected to the business vision versus standards are based on the baselines, like a benchmarking done, and then what are the minimum guidelines which are to be followed to maintain or mitigate, to define controls and action it.
Yes, I would like to go for some technical answers from all of you, because CSP is little tough, so you need to understand all the technical aspect more thoroughly. So the policies are basically, suppose if you're talking about the IT policies, right? So we have the objectives, whom to apply it, where to apply it, okay, what is the version number, everything we will be talking about later on the slides. But here it is, I have given you some simple ideas that we have whom to apply it, where to apply it, and the version number, who's authorized for it, okay, and what type of things we're talking about into this. But standards are some different. Standards are what type of your database communications with a different location, right? Standards, we can say that few networking diagram sort of things, okay. And first of all, you have called, yeah, ISP, and then it is the data. ISP is terminate your internet service provider to the firewall or routers, and then it is coming to the L3 switches, and then it is come to your L2 switches, and then your systems, okay. So what type of your diagram, MS Visio sort of things. So this is all standards we have set it. So all the database synchronizations, applications going on, what's your company's cloud structure is all about, the architecture sort of things. So this is called standards we need to uh, created. But the policies is a simple things, is what is simply 1 or 2 pages, so that easily you can understand. For the IT policies, if the system is 3 years old, then we need to sell the system same time, okay. Suppose if any employees have damage any laptops or any IT assets, then what is the what type of policies of the IT policies there, okay. So simple things in the IT policies, but standards are little complicated as compared to policies, right? But once you're going for the auditing sort of thing, so they will check it out the policies. Yes, we have policies available, okay. Then what is the standards you maintaining it, okay. So we have to show them the standard same time. The procedures and baselines, detailed, high level, and the guidelines, okay. Guidelines, recommendations, you can provide it, okay. So we have just talking about all things based on the recognized frameworks, recommendations, and industry vendors. Best practices are ISO, IEC, NIST, GISP vendors, COSO, COBIT, Checkman, SAPSA. So anyone, which frameworks they have used till now? Anyone? Do you know any NIST and ISO, COSO, COBIT, where we implement, if you have worked till now or not till now?
Actually, for me, I use CIS, which was previously with SANS. So
Yeah.
NIST, I just read little bit about it, but the rest is not actually. But CIS, one of the things that I really interested to work on.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
anyone else?
COBIT is like the IT governance framework.
Yes, yes, yes. So ISO, IEC, NIST, and COBIT. These is the three things I have worked in now, but not the Jackman is very old one. SAPSA is not going to use it, so we are using some TOGAF things. Okay, and this things. So ISO, IEC is basically it's for ISO 27000 Information Security Management System. Okay, so it is applied for any companies which has secured the informations. And NIST is basically is used for US federation sort of things. Okay, so in IT we have some 800-3040. These are the different standards. The things available in NIST. And COBIT is basically used for the governance of IT sort of things. So we'll talk later on. Must include all applicable laws and regulations. So these are some laws and regulations. So are you guys work on anyone or till now or not? Or any of them laws, regulations, regulatory things?
PCI DSS is for the main the payment card industry. The organizations or companies which used to work like the handle with related to the payment card. I mean like the banking or the finance, all those things.
Yes, right. So PCI DSS basically it is for payment card industry, and suppose Paytm is a PCI DSS one of the example, right? So the mandatory thing is the gateway is also available, payment gateway, right? Is in the PCI DSS there, and your personal informations, card informations, every details they have, but they cannot leak to outside. If the information get leaked outside, this is the compliance or the regulations laws, they will not follow at same time. Okay, and the PCI DSS company always required two-factor authentications. Is compulsory, as the OTP will be coming to your mobile or this sort of things requirement. Okay, so this is a PCI DSS sort of things, and one is the HIPAA, is a healthcare industry. It's used for
Yes.
in US in the US locations. So HIPAA is a hospitality in hospitals is patient informations of the US locations cannot be leaked to outside. Okay, so if you are implementing the HIPAA compliance, so first of all HIPAA compliance need to adopt, and then the informations of the outside of the country of the US patients you can handle it, but you cannot information cannot be leaked to outside. This is the HIPAA compliance sort of things, regulatory sort of things. You need to do it. So GLB and SOX, I have not worked in now. I don't have to, so I don't have too much idea, but we can study in this.
I think some countries they have their, sorry interruption. Some countries they are applying their own framework and regulations. Like in Saudi Arabia now they have their own two type of regulations. One called SAMA for Saudi Arabia Money Authority. They want to apply their regulations to the banks or to all insurance company. It means that they have this country, they have their own version. I think some other country, maybe they have their own. It's similar, I think, to Europe. Europe, they have GDPR now.
Yes,
So
yes,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
So different countries have different regulations. Act, Data Protection Act is there, right? So Indian Protection Act, Data Protection Act, GDPR for Europe locations. Australian SAT is basically for Australian locations, and US location have different federal what laws is there. So and Gulf countries have some different what regulations is there. Okay, so it is depend countries to country, law to law, regulations what they follow it. Those
Yes.
things are is different sort of stories. Okay, so that is why, because every country have different what culture, background, languages, sort of things are different. What rules, regulations, and laws. Okay, so that is why all the regulations, regulatory things are will be changed as per the country to country.
Yes.
Okay, so we are in the policy documents. So policy documents are policies, statements of practice, users behavior, who, what, and why. Okay, so high level, this is a high level sort of documents. We can say that often only 1 or 2 sentences. Okay, so we are creating only 1 to 2 pages, but here it is 1 to 2 sentences is all about. System specific, mid or low level detailed technology, issue specific, mid or low level detailed users or technology specific. So somebody will ask you that what ask you, or some what, once you're going into the CISSP paper, right? So you the statement of practice, okay, user behavior, who and what and why. So these things you need to be take care. What terms are we are using in the policies, okay, and what a statement of practice. Okay, the user need to do this sort of practice. Okay, suppose HR have different policies, financial policies, okay, home or IT policies, traveling policies. So different different policies are there. Okay, so the matter of fact that who's going to apply, what can be applied, and why we going to do with this. First of all, we require 3 answers. If the three things are there, then you need to create a policies for them. Okay, so it can be system specific. So we can say that the IT policies are system specific and issue specific. Okay, suppose traveling policies. So if um, the the user is not able to come to the time, and this, so that, and in what are the time policies or traveling is what doing to one country to another country, and different sort of things happen. So what type of bills he need to submit to the finance. Okay, so as per the traveling policies, how much amount of the budget he can use it. So these sort of things it mentioned, all sort of things. Okay, so policies, procedures, standards, and baselines are compulsory. Guidelines are not compulsory, right? So guidelines, what are not compulsory basically. So we have some, what advisories is what providing. Okay, and it will be published on the companies, or it will be it will be written down on your on your company. What publish boards. So if anyone what take advantage, or he can use it, read it, and then follow it. If somebody will not going to not, that's not matter of fact that, but it's advisory sort of things. And policies, procedures, standards are compulsory for any company, right? Sort of things. So contain this major element. So if you are creating IT policies, I will provide you some, what the templates of policies, right? So you can just modify in the IT policies, and you can create your own IT policies. So try to create your own IT policies. Okay, on different templates, and then I will modify it. I will change it, check it out, and that what needs to be modifications required. So contain these major elements: purpose, scope, background, responsibility, policy statement, actions, related documents, exceptions, revision history, approvals. These are some important aspects required in the policy documents. A policy must be reviewed and updated regularly, annually, or after major changes. So can anyone tell me that what is a version number into the policies, if you have created or have you checked it, your own company? What is use cases of version numbers into the IT policies or any policies?
I've not created, but ultimately version number is majorly used. Like suppose 1.1 is using like 1.2 is used. What is the majorly changes with the existing policies there? Sure.
Oh, okay. So version number is basically we are using just because of suppose 2018 we have version number 1 is there, and we need to change some of the what policies. So once I'm going to change it in 2019, this is a version number 2 is implemented. Okay, who's authorized for it and who's going to approve it? Okay, so those things also, and who is involved into this, these things will be mentioned. And in 2020 we have some another modifications, so we have version number 3 updated, and we need to change it out, and who is going to author, okay, and who's going to approve these things. This is things we need to mention.
A question on that.
Yes.
When we talk about version controls within the document, we normally see version 1 versus, as you mentioned, that let's say in 2018 we created a policy, then it became version 1, versus in 2019 when we reviewed it, it became number 2. So even if it's like no change in the policy, we need to change the version?
No, not required. Any modifications, then we need to change the version number.
Okay,
Without
so the second question is that how version 1 changing to version 2 is different from version 1.0 changing to version 1.1.
not understand your query. Tell me again.
Okay, if I have a version 1,
Hmm.
should I be changing it to version 2 or should I change it version 1.1?
No, it depends what you're going to do it. If you know what, we have subtitles available, right? So you are following the 1.1 version, 1.2 version, 1.3. You can follow it the same time. And if you have major changes, so you can go for version 2, version 3, version 4. So this is company to company documents. I
Is there
cannot.
a standardization in terms of why we should be doing version 1 to version 2 versus version 1.1 to version 1.2?
It is depend. There is no standard till now. I have seen it because it is depend on the company to company document basically. Because the IT policies, any policies you're talking about, is depend on the company prospect, whether they're going for 1.1 versus 1.2, 1.3 sort of things, or 1 or 2 or 3. But generally, we have seen 1.1, 1.2 versus 1.3 sort of things.
Okay.
So policy documents collectively and comprehensively describe vision, ethics, and governance, applicable legal and regulatory compliance, the security program, the risk management program, data classification and protections. So that is why we required, the policy document. So all things, inside the document, so that easily can be understand, easily can be say that. First of all, suppose if you check in some malicious activity, then what not in the ID policies, you can say that as per this ID policy, we cannot authorized you to provide you the access to the particular folder, right? So this is the what ID policy, you can use it for as a document, as evidence, as a proof. Incident response program, disaster recovery and business continuity planning, change control, configuration management, roles and responsibilities. So these are the some different informations are there into the policies, right? And the business continuity plan you can create it, and roles and responsibilities are they right, the control change control plans, okay. So this is the requirement of the policies, right? You can just mention it. Policy and documents and collectively is described financial accounting procedures, monitoring and auditing, employee hiring, working termination practices, employee privacy requirements and exceptions, security awareness training and enforcement sort of things, right? And this is the acceptable use case. Okay, use appropriate activities, third party governance, sanctions, exceptions. So these are the some things, right? So if we are just talking about some ISO IEC 27000, so these are the different frame evolvement of ISO is 7799 British standards, then 95 2000, and then right now International Electronic Commission IEC, International Standard Organizations of ISO. So
like whether Mahesh, these questions would be coming in paper, like about this ISO, about the numbering and everything. Should we remember all these things?
not exactly. This is for understanding only. Because in the CISSP examinations, what is coming, some scenario-based questions, right? Suppose there's companies need to implement the ISO standards, right? Information security sort of thing. So, what type of information security controls you need to implement? Okay, so you have some 27001, 27005, 27006. So different this ISO numbers will be available, right? So we have, what, if you're talking about some 9001 ISO, right? So this is for quality management sort of things, right? So you need to understand for the IT perspective, you need to understand 27,000, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But if the quality management, we have some different sort of things, and different business prospects, different ISO standards are there. But in the IT frameworks, what is 27,000? What is use case used for? So information security management system, it's used for 2000 controls or ISMS, IT security techniques. Okay, this is only for the implementation of ISO. It was coming 95, then 2000. This is history, we can say that. So history will be not coming, but the scenario questions will be coming to your company. And then
do we have a kind of a segregation in terms of what will be the weightage for different domains when the examination will happen?
Yes, I have available. Don't worry, I will show you. Wait a second.
If it is coming in the upcoming slides, I'm absolutely fine. I just want to make sure, understand that, yeah. Are we covering that today or in the next session?
Wait a second, I will show you. If you are able to see the screen, so I will show you. Yeah, are you able to see the screen? Are you able to see the screen of my?
Yes, but
old slide is coming only.
It's the same old slide, yeah.
Okay, wait a second. Now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so you have seen that the information security and risk management is 50% weightage, right? And asset security, you have 10%, security architecture and engineering 13%, communications and network security is 14%, identity access management 30%, security assessment and testing is 12%, security operations 13%, and software development security is 10%, right? So this is for 100% sort of things, right? So can we continue, or you just required some break, or we can continue tomorrow?
Yes, I agree with the other people.
Let me know, because we're almost studying for 3 years. So I think, what do you think, guys?
How many slides left for this section for the policy documents?
Okay, so what we can do right now, we are on, there it is. So we will study from the controls tomorrow. Continue the same slide. Okay, this is, yes, ISO 27000. Tomorrow will be continue on particular slide. That is, wait a second. Are you ready? Yes.
So these sessions are all recorded, right?
Yes, all are recorded. So I will share the recordings.
Because tomorrow, because in Middle East, we have work on Sunday. So I may not able to attend at this time, but anyways, I will do my best to attend. Okay. But for sure, the recording I need to be there so that I can use it for my reference.
Okay, no problem. Because right now we are on the 30 slide, right? and we have 84 slides still remaining. So don't worry, I will share the all informations, and it is also recorded session, so you will get all the informations anywhere, anytime, right?
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, okay.
thank you,
So
thank you for
Mahesh,
joining.
before
Sure.
dropping, like
Thank
one question,
Yes,
hello Mahesh.
yes,
So
tell
Mahesh,
me.
like just for passing the exam, like for clearing the exam. So what do you recommend here? One thing is like the like discussions we are it would be happening with you. Also the blueprints. Whether you suggest to like go through with the other like books like detailed manner like Cybex and everything, or like it should be okay to pass the exam blueprints in your sessions.
I will share the other informations, not worry about it. I have all the informations. I provide you some topics. I will provide you some guidelines and each and everything. So try to make the things more and more like try to understand the security policies. Try to understand the CIA things, each and everything, right?
So
And
I think Naveen's question, probably even I had the similar question, that should we be also, like, this session is happening on a weekend, so do you recommend anything should we be going through with during the weekdays time, which we can refer and come back with more questions so that we have more clarity around certain points?
I can do one thing. I'm just creating you know what, a WhatsApp group. Okay, and then I will share this particular numbers to you, all of you. So I will provide you some informations over there. So the work you need to perform on the same time, so that you can do a daily, day by day, so that easily you can understand. I will provide you on the things from there, constructions.
Great.
So
Thank you. Thanks.
765127449. This is my WhatsApp number, so you can request you, all of you, just connect me on the WhatsApp. Wait a second, this is for everyone. Okay, so this is my WhatsApp number, so you can just connect me on the WhatsApp, and then I will provide you the further guidance, what needs to be done. Okay.
Can you provide us the country code? Is it including the country code here?
915. Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so I will provide you all the, you know what, the assignments, the case studies. But once we done the one domain, okay, security and risk management sort of things, then I will provide you some case studies, and I will provide you some, you know what, assignments. So you can do it in the weekend, and then we will continue second domain later on. Okay, so I would like once we're going for the second, you know what, the classes. So I will ask you any questions regarding the compliance or anything like that, so you can understand, right?
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Sylvia.
Okay, bye.
Okay.
So much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.